The true meaning of Islam. This presentation is prepared by AI. When many people think of Islam, a particular image often comes to mind. A set of rituals such as prayer, fasting, pilgrimage, and reciting the two testimonies of faith. These practices, despite their importance, are commonly viewed as the core and ultimate purpose of the religion. But is that truly all that Islam represents in its original Quranic perspective? What if the real meaning of Islam is far simpler and far deeper? What if the Quran offers a definition that focuses first and foremost on our behavior? In this article, we will explore 5 Quranic insights that may be surprising, as they redefine Islam as a universal human condition rather than a religious identity limited to specific rituals. 1. Islam is not just rituals, it is a behavioral state. Acts of worship such as prayer, fasting, and pilgrimage, according to the Quranic vision, are not the essence of Islam itself. Rather, they are tools given by God to help a person stay on the straight path and purify the self. The true meaning of the word Islam is purely behavioral, to grant peace to others. To refrain from harming anyone in word or deed. Islam is something visible and lived, not merely spoken or performed. It is a practical commitment to peace, beautifully summarized in the prophetic saying, "A Muslim is the one from whose tongue and hand people are safe." This behavioral definition leads directly to a precise Quranic distinction between being a Muslim and being a mu'min. 2. You decide to be a Muslim, but others decide whether you are a mu'min. The Quran draws a clear line between Islam and Iman. Islam, in its behavioral sense of offering peace and refraining from harm, is entirely a personal decision. You alone control this choice. The moment you stop harming others and offer them peace, you enter a state of Islam. Iman, on the other hand, is not a self-assigned label. It is a testimony others grant you when they feel complete safety in your presence. You strive to be among those who secure others through your actions, but it is your community that ultimately decides whether you have reached the level of a true grantor of security, mu'min. This transforms Iman from a private inner belief into a profound social responsibility where the safety of others becomes the true measure of your Iman. 3. The Quranic opposite of Muslim is criminal. It is striking that when the Quran contrasts Muslims with their opposite, it does not place them against disbelievers in the theological sense. Instead, it places them against criminals. Shall we treat the Muslims like the criminals? This direct comparison carries deep meaning. If the criminal is the one who harms others and destroys their peace, then the Muslim is the one who grants them peace. Even more striking is that the comparison is made with the minimum level, Muslim, not the higher level of mu'min. If a criminal cannot be equated with a Muslim, the grantor of peace, then it is even more impossible to compare them with a mu'min, the grantor of security. This contrast reinforces that the identity of Muslim and mu'min is built on behavior and moral impact. 4. Islam is the minimum requirement, while Iman is a higher level. A common misconception is that Iman precedes Islam, but the Quran presents the opposite order. Islam is the first stage and the necessary foundation, while Iman is a higher level that requires greater effort and more refined behavior. The Quran shows this clearly. In Surah Al-Qasas, the people of the book who possess knowledge say, "We were Muslims before it." In Surah Az-Zukhruf, God describes his righteous servants as those who granted security by our ayat and were Muslims. And in the story of Pharaoh's magicians, after they declared that they granted security to Musa, they prayed that God would cause them to die as Muslims seeking the minimum state. Islam is the foundation, Iman is the structure built upon it. 5. Islam is the message of all prophets, not exclusive to Muhammad. Islam, meaning sincerity to God and granting peace to creation, did not begin with Prophet Muhammad. It is the single religion preached by all prophets throughout history. Abraham was described as a true monotheist, a Muslim. Solomon invited the Queen of Sheba and her people to come to him as Muslims, meaning peaceful and non-hostile. This understanding expands Islam into a universal human condition rooted in goodness and peace, not a religion confined to a specific time or place. It is a natural call for every human being everywhere to return to the essence, to be a source of peace for oneself and for others. Conclusion. At its core, Islam is a universal and simple call to peace and to refraining from harming others. It is the minimum ethical requirement for every person to live harmoniously within society. It is not a complex set of rituals, but a refined behavioral state. That begins with a personal decision and radiates outward into the world. So the question remains, if Islam means that people are safe from our words and actions, how would our world change if every person sought to achieve this minimum standard? This presentation is based on the outcome of transitive Iman research by Dr. Khaled Al-Sayed Hassan. More details are on YouTube channel Iman and Islam. Thanks for watching.